Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, October 26th, and this is Morning Market Movers, where we do live analysis for day trading. I'm Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me is Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. Before Brian and I take a quick peek at what's going on this morning, I do need to share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. So what are we looking at this morning? And, there's not a lot. We're going to take a look at a couple of things. One, we're going to take a quick peek at gold. Why are we taking a quick peek at gold? And as you can see, gold just dropped recently. This is a 15-minute chart. Why is gold dropping? And it's just rather interesting that there are differing opinions, and differing opinions can move the markets. But just as we mentioned, last week, Jamie Dimon said something about inflation. We had Paul Tudor Jones say something about inflation. Yesterday, Jack Dorsey from Twitter was saying something about hyperinflation. And of course, Kathy Wood from ARK Investments today got into a bit of a Twitter battle with Jack Dorsey, saying, no, 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 no. Prices will drop after the holidays. In fact, the risk, based on the velocity of money, the risk isn't inflation, the risk is deflation. She's taking a contrarian view, and that's very much what her ARK Investments does. And we saw a little drop, a short little, maybe a $10 drop in gold. It looks like it's actually catching a little bit of a bottom right here, but it puts volatility in. I mean, I like it, dislike it. We're getting a little bit of volatility out of comments like that. And then the other thing we're going to talk about quickly are the equities. I mean, let's face it, COVID numbers are starting to ebb, right? We're easing on some of these COVID numbers, and so far, economic numbers and corporate earnings for the third quarter all looking positive. So we're hitting all-time highs in the equity indices, and based on the numbers that just came out this morning, no reason all the equity indices are looking to open in the green. So that's what we're going to talk about. A little bit about gold, maybe some levels here in gold. We'll take a look at the equity indices, and then I want to encourage everyone. Brian's going to be coming back in 3 hours to do a full-blown session. I just dropped the link. If you're not registered, it'll be a full-blown webinar. It'll cover everything in the market. It'll be after the open, and take a look at what's we'll take a look at what's transpired after the open and what to look for potentially later in the week. So Brian, let me flip it over to you. Let's just kind of cover a few things, then you can do and then we'll see everyone to come back in 3 hours.
I was looking to see what's hot, and I scrolled down, and it looks like Mr. Nancy Pelosi is officially out. Husband of Nancy, I believe, had all his options and everything, shooting for $1,000 Tesla. And Tesla's at 1,024. So that's something that's hot, up 12.6 percentage on that one. Crazy move there. But anyway, yeah, here's gold.
That was Hertz is gonna take 100,000 Teslas and put them in their fleet?
Well, I don't know. I guess, but then I just saw that they've canceled or pulled or recalled the fully autonomous vehicle because of software glitches or something. So they're acknowledging that
I just think it's funny that Hertz, didn't they go bankrupt?
I don't. Some of them did. I don't remember.
There was a big scandal with Hertz, and maybe they're going to come out of bankruptcy. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't Hertz. So I could be wrong.
I don't know.
They went bankrupt, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure during the pandemic, car rentals were not at all-time highs. So, but yeah, so gold is bouncing back and forth. We're looking for that full retracement back again. We're actually looking for it to come up and really kind of start testing the 1812 to 1814 region at about, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock yesterday at the open. All the positivity of inflation disappeared. We hit 1810, we missed it by $2, and it just started to grind sideways. And then all it's doing is kind of grinding back down again to that point of equilibrium. Again, remember, it acts like a rubber band, and 1800 right now is that rubber banding event. We'll see. Like I said, COVID was the big thing. A lot of the kind of news we're seeing today is, when are people going to start raising? Where is it? Right here. When is the BOC looking to raise interest rates? And that actually came out of the UK. And again, this week there's so many different monetary policy things, and the reason why everybody's talking about raising interest rates is that combating that inflation. So you know, they've been using the transit thing forever. We don't actually hear it as much anymore. They're not using that word anymore because I think they've realized that they misused it. But originally it was July, then it was, but it'll turn in July, and then it was, August, and then we'll see, and then maybe it's end of year, and now it's next year, but the reality is everybody's raising rates. So, yeah, that's kind of the big thing. And again, yesterday it was all about yep, and then it's like, well, maybe not yet, So it's an interesting play back and forth. I would say right now, when we look at like where the hottest opportunities are, you can see that, gold's down 0.45, silver's down just under 1%. Again, it has that kind of, it tends to move about twice as much as what gold does. And again, not helping that entire, $100 silver, but gold is not really doing itself much favor either. And, the last time that buyers really stepped in was a little bit lower down here at what? 1781. So, again, I think we're going to float around 1800. Unfortunately, based off of all these, and again, these are those hairy candles, those little tiny bodies with big wicks back and forth. It just shows a lot of indecision and not a lot of driving factors there. And it is, I would say that this is an inflation story today because if you're looking all, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're both down, 0.8, 0.6. And, TLT, had a little bit of a pop and it's holding a little bit higher right now. So it looks like, bonds are a little bit higher on the day. So, kind of an interesting gold day. I don't know if it's going to stay hot all morning. Again, like I said, it's basically been driven down by the European market. If we do get a little bit of a pop up, I would say watch for a very, very compressed zone from really probably from here to here from 1794 up to like 1806. I think is going to be kind of the range today. So if you guys do know how to play more of those horizontal strategies, today actually may be a day I think again you look into that in gold, and if you don't know what that is, again Dan Cook has done some of those before. You can look at some of the previous education summits, and he's talked about those type of strategies. But like I said, I think it's boxed in. There's really no moving news today.
By the way, I was just going to drop this in. I mean, it's kind of this is silver right now.
Mm-hmm.
Silver made the exact same move down and is quickly retracing it. So
yeah,
kind of interesting.
And it's funny. Like I was using with my students lately, I've been using fibs to start forecasting, and it's funny. I forecasted up to 25 because I do think this week we will have an opportunity to kind of bank off that 45 or the 25 number, not 45. And what I was looking for was different areas of pullbacks. And it's funny when I did my draw up that $25 mark, and right now I have drawn from 23 up to 25 as kind of the last, the current push that we're in, although it's starting to stall a little bit. It's funny, you can see that there's nothing there. There's no, in looking at any sellers over here, there's nothing there, right? So, but you can see that. Why did it turn when it hit the red right at that 23.6? It's funny. Here's my forecast of what the move looks like, and it's funny. It's magical sometimes how these things come in there. That there was my draw between two major, big hold numbers, and look at that. It literally turned right off that 23.6 right at the 24.60 amount. So it is interesting. And again, silver does have buyers coming in here right around 24.06. So if this push is lower, this was kind of it is an area of buyers, an area of demand. But and again, in using fibs, it kind of fibs for forecasting, that was also kind of popping back right at a 50% retracement level, right around 24. So we bounce off of it today, maybe, and then again that would coincide with the CAD news, and maybe again tonight is CPI for Australia. So again, there's kind of that double link between gold and Australia tonight. And again, we are expected to have basically the same CPI quarter over quarter as it was last time. So not decreasing, not transitory, accelerating at the same exact rate of 0.8% and 0.5%. So again, that is a gauge of true inflation inside of an economy.
Do we want to take a quick peek before we tell everyone to come back in 3 hours? Anything on the equities at all? I mean, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, VIX is down. Yeah, I would say VIX is down right now. I mean, this is where buyers stepped in last time at like 1486. So again, technically, and again, on a technical basis, looking at it, we would expect the VIX to pop right now. based off of where it is, but there's really no news. And again, the VIX is a little bit different. It's not necessarily there's buyers and sellers in it, but it's more of a reactionary kind of thing. It's not so much on the other side. It's not like the VIX prepares for unscripted news, and it's kind of set for that right now. But because the VIX is down, all the indices are up a little bit. I would say look for some of these big numbers. Right now, we're at 45.75 in the ES. Again, psychological number. Big question is, can we hit 4,600, which is sitting right there today? And again, with no news, we're kind of sitting in the middle between those two big round numbers. But again, 4,600 would be kind of a cool number to talk about. And with VIX down, COVID numbers down, a lot of positives. It's one of the weaker ones. The NQ right now is the strongest, and you can see the NQ just banked off 15,600. Again, we start getting some ground, and it's always nice to see this level of basing right below where current price is, and it already took a bounce. This could be setting up for an open long inside of the NQ. Again, drop it down to your 15 minutes, just like we do the 35 and 1. Just go to 15. Look for that higher. I'll go over it today. I've been looking at kind of adding a new component to one of my strategies. And using, again, I've been kind of weighing back and forth binaries and call spreads. It's at the open. It's for basically the first 30 minutes of trading. And again, this looks like it's setting up already for that. YM, kind of the same idea. We're at what? 35,800 is sitting right here, which would be the next psychological number. It is pulling back, and again, I'll drop it to a 15-minute. You can see it is also pulling back kind of into a zone. It's not as sharp. And again, Dow is going to be a little bit one of the slower movers. It tends to be. It's more manufacturing based, and we really don't have any news today. And then Russell, kind of the same thing, but the Russell's got a little bit more room to run. This one has room to run all the way up to right there, 2332. So again, we had this upper level zone here that we kind of banked into, and then we use that as a level of buyers. So got a little more room to run. And this one, actually, the first target on this one may be this 23.25, kind of sitting about halfway to its. So
I did put. We're going to be back in 3 hours. I've got the link up there. I dropped it in there twice. I want to make sure. Brian will do a full blown analysis after the open. I mean, not a lot else to really be talking about before the open, and certainly taking a look, and I'm sure you'll talk about the Australian inflation numbers and a potential setup, because that would be this evening, and not in the middle of the night. So there might be a potential trade setup there before right after everyone has dinner. Depending upon where you are. So with that, any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. Any questions for Brian, please email Brian at support@keeptradingsimple.com. We'll be back in 3 hours. Really, what are we looking at? Encouraging earnings reports, continuing to push equity indices higher, and a little bit of volatility in the metals based on some Twitter war going on whether we're going to have inflation or deflation. So grab your popcorn and watch them have at it. But if it's going to create volatility, it does create trading opportunity. With that, we'll catch you again in a few hours. Otherwise, we'll catch you tomorrow morning. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and good luck in the markets.